Well, it has been a while, hasn't it? We are back. Oh, we are so back. We are so back. Hopefully the correct webcam works. 3, 2, 1. It does. Very, very nice. Welcome, everyone. We are back. Now, let me pop out the chat. Today is like a warm-up day, right? Like being gone for a little bit, coming back. Like the webcam in the morning update was the wrong webcam. It was the laptop one, not that one, not the professional one. So trying to get back into it. You know how it is. You know how it is. If you go on holiday for a period, you come back, you look at your emails, you look at all your stuff. You're like, oh, wait, how did I do this again? What was my line of thinking? X, Y, Z. Not Elliott Wave, X, Y, Z. But yeah, we're good. We're good to go. So in today's live stream, we are going to cover a couple of things. Now, first of all, Elliott waves, right? So we're going to talk about Elliott waves, analyze the chart. But secondly, I will also talk about the Roadtrip, my meeting with Robert Prechter, founder of Elliott Wave International, and also the author of Elliott Wave Principle, which is a very well-known book in our niche industry, right? Elliott Waves being the niche that is, not the financial industry, just purely Elliott Waves. And I will also shortly cover and talk about my Wintersport. I have videos. We made lots of content with a GoPro. You may have seen my picture on the YouTube like post wall, like community what on the channel. So I have some videos, some fun videos, and just some things to show, just so you know, like, oh, what happened, where were we, and la-di-la. So it's going to be storytelling, but we're going to start with the analysis, and then the storytelling comes after for the ones that are interested, right? So we're going to start with why the channel is here, which is the analysis, Elliott Waves, Bitcoin. So that's what we're going to do. So, welcome everyone. Jeroen, good to have you here. Lamil, Lazy Mill, thanks. It's good to see all of you back, guys. Sibel, miss you so much. Thanks, Sibel. Yeah, it's been quite a while. I mean, one update really in Washington. I gotta say, not much has happened, right? Not much has happened. 1 second. So let's see. So what happened over here? Right, this was covered in my update before I left to the US. So I left to the US here, somewhere here. And I was talking about taking liquidity here, look for a retracement, right? And then depending on the retracement, we look for price to take out the lows or 105. That was it. But I explained what to look for, right? Is the move down impulsive or is the move down corrective? And then you know what comes next, right? So here I was traveling. But of course, impulsive, corrective up, looking for continuation. I think the next update I made was in Washington. So price was somewhere here. And then we were talking about looking for a bounce. And the bounce has to be either 3 or 5 waves. And then, of course, here I was traveling again. Now, clearly 3-wave structure, looking for price to take the low. And now here we are. And actually, when I was on Wintersport holiday, which was like here, this is when we drove and I came back. Well, I came back yesterday, kind of. So, it's just been ranging. Like not much has happened really. So that's good. That's good. Not bad. Legendario, welcome, Rahul. The music. Tucciavon, welcome from Argentina. Jonas, Norbert. It's like my night sneaking to get yogurt from the fridge without the lights on, trying to be quiet. We've all been there. In my case, it wasn't yogurt. In my case, it was chocolate. Especially when I was younger, gotta say. My parents have great stories of me stealing chocolate at home from the kelder. What's that? The basement. Yeah, good times. No joke. Welcome, Bullet Ozdemir. Good to have you here, man. Welcome. John, welcome. From the US, the sunny side, the sunny state, no? Other side compared to where I was. Job, Parmit, Tavanrat, welcome. Agent J, Mark, your first world travel tour. What's up? The weekly naked point of my Atos is somewhere else and got touched already. So mine is 76K. Make sure to check if your tick size is 50. That's at least what I use. Outdoor Z, welcome. Good to have you here, Christian. What's up? So I guess we'll start the analysis. I think the morning update honestly was quite clear. It was 14 minutes. I'll just give you a summary. We can be very short. I mean, I have many folders, but in a nutshell, the probabilities are still higher to take out that long. And anything happening here is higher probability to be corrective unless proven otherwise, which of course is always the case unless proven otherwise. But its probabilities only really change for the bulls if you get an impulse up and a corrective move down. And we are currently not yet at a finished impulsive structure, or maybe locally, but you need a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you need a corrective move down. Only then do we start looking at, hey, possible continuation, right? So it will take a while for that to develop, if bullish, of course, and basically the probabilities are bearish until something like that is going to form. So on the 4-hour time frame, right? We're on the 4-hour. So probabilities at the moment higher still to take out the low as explained this morning, not because we don't yet have an impulse up, but also due to ending a corrective structure here is difficult, which I will cover in the analysis during this live stream as well. I forgot to actually I forgot to get a glass, and I don't fancy walking to the kitchen now, so I'll just drink from the bottle if you don't mind. Oops. There we go. Okay, very nice. We're gonna start the analysis. Christian, welcome, man. Good to see you back. Abiyit, Benedict. What is the name for the NPOC indicator? It's not well. I preferably use Atos, which is a software that you can download. So you just go to Google or other browser, look for Atos Trading, and download it. It's free for crypto. Then the templates are in Discord. So you go to Discord. And then the templates I use are here, literally these two. You can download these, put them in your Atos software, and you're basically good to go. When I'm on holiday though, I don't have my Windows laptop with me. I have a Mac, and I can't run Atos on the Mac, right? So because I couldn't run it on a MacBook, because you can't unless you get a Windows emulator and all of that stuff, which I don't really want to get into. I used the PVP indicator and the market sessions and volume profile by Leviathan indicator, right? So you can get these. These are just Tradingview indicators. So the PVP indicator, this is what I have. You can change week, or I use day. So this shows you on Tradingview with the PVP indicator. You also get the daily point of control, right, which are the red bars. If untouched, the red line continues all the way to the right. If touched, you can see it's disrupted, right? So the line is not extended all the way to the right. So that makes it easy to see, okay, where do we have a naked point of control, right? One over here, one over here. This is the current day, right? So this one is irrelevant at 83. And then we have one over here at about 80.4, which is also where the blue box is. Now you can do the same, right? You change day to week. You can even choose month if you want to. And now you see the week. Now this line here at 83, irrelevant. That's the current week. It's not important. But you can see one over here at 88.4 and one down here at about 76. So you can see it's quite similar compared to what Atos shows. But I use Atos. It's generally more accurate, so I just like to use Atos. But I also use these now. I will actually keep using them because you do occasionally get some different levels, like here around 88, right? Around 88K, I have a blue box. You can see a weekly naked point of control here, right? Quite interesting. While on ATAS, the weekly naked point of control is all the way here at 92.5, right? So the PVP, 88.4 and 92.5 ATAS, that's a big difference. So I will have them both on my chart. The other one is the market sessions and volume profile indicator by Leviathan. These are my settings. Feel free to copy this. I always make my point of controls red. It's just my preferred color for point of controls. It's set on the daily. As you can see here, though, so these do not extend. I actually don't know if I can extend. I only really started using this while I was gone on, traveling and on holiday. So I don't actually think this one extends because we do have one here, right? You can see a red line, which hasn't been touched at a later stage. Here we have also 90.3K. That's a weekly naked point of control with regards to the Leviathan indicator. But PVP, ATAS, interesting. Leviathan indicator is like an extra. Those are the three I might quickly check in the morning. ATAS for me is most accurate. That's the one I've been using to get these levels. And the other point of controls with regards to PVP and the Leviathan indicator, I'll make those red. Okay. I'm going to talk about this soon, the road trip and my holiday, but let's get this started. Maybe a Band-Aid, yo. Dude. Yeah, now we talk to each other online again. Yeah, it was great meeting you, man. It was awesome. Thanks for taking the time. And I'll share the short that was just posted, made by my wife and stuff after the analysis. Let's get into it. Yes, that's true. Metchi HK, that's true, yeah. I just don't really want to get into all the emulators and stuff, to be honest. Okay, Divinehood, welcome. Good to have you here. And Pao Meat got gifted again. Not the first time. Let's get this started. So I just want to keep it very simple. I have many folders. So let's try to keep this as simple as possible, even though Elliott Waves is not always very simple. Let's start with the bullish scenario. And just by explaining the bullish scenario, you will know why taking out the low has a higher probability. So we basically start with the lower probability scenario. We are how long into the live stream now? 18 minutes. Okay, perfect. Okay, so look. Why are the probabilities higher for price to take out this low? Well, if this is the low of a corrective structure, you would need to count it as a WXY finishing here. So you have a first structure, second structure, third structure. It's a double zigzag, basically, right? And then count 1, 2, and you look for 3, 4, 5. So continuation to the upside. The issue with this scenario, though, is time, its ratio. Now, Elliott Waves, besides price, is also related to time, right? It's about ratio. In the book of Prechter, it's called ratio analysis. And what we see here is that our wave X is very short compared to W, and our wave Y is very short compared to W as well. You see the vertical lines here, wave Y and wave X finished way before these two vertical lines, and the two vertical lines is a FIB time. Those are FIB times, right? And those are the 0.382 FIB times. Now, basically, you want your X and your Y to finish at least after the 0.382. It's very uncommon / rare if that does not happen because of the ratio, right? So basically, if X or Y finishes after the 0.382, it means that for example, wave Y is at least 38.2% the time of W. If it is a lot shorter or just shorter than 38.2% of the time of W, it lowers probabilities. It's very uncommon for waves to not at least have a 382 relationship in time. More often, by the way, wave Y finishes between a 618 and 1.618. Right, or around a 1-to-1 compared to W. So it just lowers the probabilities. That's basically what we are saying. And there's not a great way to count this structure in any other way than the potential of a WXY. Earlier this morning, I was like, you know, is there a way to have like structure 1, structure 2, whatever, and then get structure like 3? But it's still, I don't know, it's lower probabilities. It just doesn't look as good as scenarios that take the low. And I won't be surprised if many analysts that are watching, as well as sharing stuff in Discord, came to a similar conclusion. So the bullish scenario only really becomes interesting if we get an impulsive structure to the upside, 5 waves, and then a corrective move to the downside. This is where I am then interested to look for higher prices. I'm just not interested with current price action. But this is personal trading style, right? So I need confidence, I need proof, I need the chart to work with me. After an impulsive move up, we always get a corrective structure. We always get a sideways range, a corrective structure down, and then we look for price to continue up. That is where I am interested to join. As long as I do not see that, I'm not interested. So that then brings us to the bearish scenarios. And in this case, we're basically looking for a corrective 3-wave structure to the downside with at least a scenario you see on my chart now. Right, so we have our W, we have our X, and then we have our wave Y basically, right? So corrective price action here. We look for price to still move to the downside and take out this low. The current low is made here after a 3-wave structure to the downside, increasing probabilities to take out this low at least once more, right? Because we now know that WXY, ending wave Y here, low probabilities because of time, right? But there's not really any other way to end a corrective structure here nicely, except for maybe a Y. So because this low took out this low, and because time-wise, we can't really end something here, probabilities are higher that this low is a wave X or a wave B, or maybe an even more bearish scenario, it could even be a wave 3, or we are working on a wave 3 for a diagonal, right? In other words, you take the low, right? So it's the bias that counts. We don't have to know the exact scenario. There's always a few, of course, and I can get to probabilities for exact scenarios. But basically what I'm trying to say is from an Elliott wave point of view, the probabilities are higher to take the low, and this is why. Now, your wave X can be any corrective structure, right? That makes X's quite tricky to trade. So triangles, right? I have them on my chart. A triangle, a flat. This one, I removed this one. This one is not really relevant to me anymore. Triangle, right? Want to at least keep in mind. I removed the flat, right? But that's an option. And then we have like a WXY inside the blue X. So it's just corrective and then you fall afterwards. I don't really want to go in detail as it likely just confuses people, but basically inside X, corrective structure. Range, 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 and then fall for Y. Okay. Next up. The following scenarios also still take the low. So it explains the bias, I suppose. But this is a zigzag ABC, diagonal A, diagonal C. Looks ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Very low probabilities. Wave A and C are both diagonals in a zigzag. So in some way, shape, or form, it doesn't really make sense. But just because you can't invalidate a double diagonal zigzag, I was like, oh, let's just put it on the chart, ending diagonal wave C. But still, it's just about the conclusion being we take out the low. WXY, this is slightly different. W ends over here now, X over here, and we have a bigger A, B, C. In that case, we take the low, impulse up, corrective move down, continuation, right? Range, range, range. Now it's labeled B instead of wave X, and you look for one more move down, which is your wave C. Conclusion, take out the low. And then we have this one, which of course is very attractive. Now this would be... or at least have the potential of a bear market, right? Still very early, but nonetheless, 1, 2, 3, or preferably get 3 later, right? So if we make a new low, label that as 3, then get 4, then get 5. Reason I prefer wave 3 to not yet be in, instead of counting just 3, is because of time. Again, wave 1 is very big, wave 3 is very short, right? 0.382 taken from the start to the end of 1 to the end of 2. Meaning, if this is wave 3, it is shorter than the 0.382 of 1. Which does not happen very often. Time is never an invalidation, right? But it does have an impact on probabilities, which in the end is stuff that we trade, right? We trade probabilities. So therefore, preferably, if we do make another low, I would like to label it a 3, then get 4, then get 5 later. Correction, and then we dump again. This would be a scenario that can, I mean, this will easily get you into the 60s, maybe even the 50s, and then that would be, would be very nice, actually. But yeah, you basically get back into this range, right? Your first bounce, I would be interested in this, could be the top of the range. We also have some support to the downside there, now that I remember. Wait a second, what was it? I have... it's the point of control of the range. Let me just put it on here. Oopala. There we go. So point of control, 67.5K. Value area high, 70.1K. So there's some interesting support like in the top area of this range, which can give you the first bounce. Find resistance. Guess what? Resistance probably around the volume level or point of control of this range here. Then you drop again into the lower half of the range. That is what this scenario basically shows. Got to be aware. Right? So yeah, probabilities haven't changed, of course, since the morning. And the probabilities are higher to still take out the low. So, yeah. Anything else that I really want to add? I spoke about when I turn bullish. So let me repeat that for the sake of completing the probabilities bearish. I will happily change to a bullish scenario if we complete a 5-wave up and a 3-wave down. If this is proven to be a 3-waver, I'm in. As long as we do not have that, I'm not in from a buying point of view. This is on the 4-hour time frame, but especially when I'm traveling, I'm not interested in lower time frames. I always keep an eye on daily 4-hour. I love the 4-hour, gotta say. The 4-hour is a very nice time frame. So when I'm traveling, I keep an eye on the 4-hour. Nothing happened. Nothing. If this turned out a 5-waver, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then during my holiday I was gonna attempt longing here, but it wasn't a 5, it was a 3. So therefore, no interest. I didn't do anything during my holiday. I didn't short as well during the holiday because I don't really like to trade much. So I was more interested in, hey, if there's a long opportunity, I'll long. If not, then I'm happily enjoying my holiday. So yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, probability is high to take the low. Now if we go to the lower time frame, we are approaching support. If price fails to hold the support, then I don't really have anything below until we take the low again, as you can see here. So you can see the local levels. This daily naked point of control did not do anything, but luckily my box was down here. So daily naked point of control, weekly naked point of control, daily, all in this area here between 81.1 and 80.3K. It's quite nice, right? It's a very interesting area. And that would be an area of interest. This is definitely an area of interest to me. And what I like to see is a little bit like a sign of strength, right? So at the moment, price is moving down on volume, right? Bigger candle moving down on volume. Would be nice to see it slow down, see some levels being hit. I would really like at least the weekly naked point of control to be hit, which, what is it, like 81? Yeah, 81. And then slowly, eventually get some strength, bullish CVDs, and then look for price to move up. Area of resistance here, 88.2, 88.5K. So, and that's the first area of resistance. That's a volume resistance. Above that, we get here. So 92.5, 93.4, 95.5, 96.5. So it's quite a stretch at the moment, but yeah, I'm very patient, observing the reaction. If we touch the box, it has to touch the box for me. If it does not touch my levels, I'm not interested anyway. I really like to see my levels hit. So that's what's happening locally. Now, from an Elliott wave point of view, though, I am interested in longing. This is something that I posted this morning in the morning update. So we got an 886 touch here, taken from high to low. 886 here touched. Increasing probabilities to still take out this high, because if you want to see a good move, strong move to the downside, preferably it's an impulsive structure, and an 886 touch for a wave 2 and an impulse 1, 2, 3 is very rare. Also, this of course looks very corrective. It looks very 3 wavy, not 5 wavy, unless it's 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, unless this not the highest probabilities, but 1, 2, 1, 2, yep, and down in 3. So then you have another 1, 2, and then 3, and then eventually you get 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, right? So you're going to lose support. So in other words, if price can move back into this range, probability is high to take out the high, probability is high to move at least to 88, past 88, look for 92, past 92, 96. Level by level, right? Wait for signs of strength. In my opinion, I'm talking to myself as well. I mean, I'm not a financial advisor. You guys know we're not in a financial advising institution. We're on YouTube. Random people, random analysts, random Koen appeared on your timeline, and here you are. But still. So yeah, if we see some signs of strength here, I'm happy. I'm happy to join. I prefer to be late instead of wrong. That's what I like to say. So let's see what we get. We almost touch support. I don't have any limit set, right? I'm very reactive. So we just wait. And that's basically the analysis. So on a lower time frame, the probabilities would be better for price to still take out these highs, approach some resistance, and then at resistance, look for moves to the downside. Alternatively, just move down, take out the low. Also, because on a 4-hour time frame, the probabilities are higher to take out this low, I am not someone that really likes to jump too early into longs, because I know that the 4-hour, like a higher time frame, has probabilities the opposite direction, which is to the downside. So for me to therefore enter longs, I prefer to be safe, better safe than sorry. And if we can get back inside this area here, I'm happy to join and look for 88K resistance, then 92, then 96, right? Because I also realize there is the potential for diagonals, right? And just continuation down. So we'll see what price does at resistance. Besides the analysis, I kind of spoke more about how I would approach my trading with the current price action that we have, which hopefully is useful as well. Of course, the best thing to do is just to have your own plan, have your own strategy, know what you're looking for, because I have my own tools that I look for, my own signs of strength, my own way of trading, which might not work for you. I might be too patient. Maybe I trade too much. Yeah, maybe my tools are just not the tools that you want to use, that you like to use. But hopefully the Elliott wave analysis nonetheless is helpful and provides some insights for you. So yeah, very nice. That's basically the analysis. Now, if you have any questions about the analysis, about Elliott waves, make sure to ask. Next up is going to be storytelling, because I will talk about, where is it? The road trip. And I'll show this video as well. This is the short that I just uploaded on YouTube. And it has some of the shots and stuff that we did during our road trip, including meeting Robert Prechter, founder of Elliott Wave International, author of Elliott Wave Principle. Where's my phone? There it is. I spoke with Robert Prechter. I made notes of his answers, and I will share these notes with you. So I'm going to find my chat here where I wrote the notes. There we go. And okay, so I prepared this. Very nice. So I got that on my phone. So I will talk about the road trip, some of the meetings I had, and then I'll cover a little bit of the Wintersport stuff with my friend group. We had a GoPro, so we have some content, and I have it all on my laptop, and then we end it afterwards. So yeah, that's going to be the plan. Elliott wave analysis started at about 18 minutes, I believe. 18 min. Now, road trip, storytelling. Yep. And Q&A. Oh, we can do Q&A as well. Road trips. Oops, we pinned this. There we go. Have a quick look here. Some questions. Andrew, welcome. The weekly hasn't changed compared to previous higher time frame analysis, to be honest. Where is it? So this is your bearish scenario. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very, very simple. And after a 5-wave structure, you look for a 3-wave retracement, right? So a 3-wave, and then you continue towards the upside. So this is your bear market scenario, finished 5-wave, and then bear market starts. But for this to turn into a potential bear market, you need a diagonal here, right? You just need a diagonal locally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Corrective structure up, continuation, and then this, of course, preferably is a wave 3. When do people really start talking about bear market? What's a bear market? I mean, a move like this to the downside is very normal in bull markets as well, right? Of course, once you start to get into 40, 50, 60, 70, then, yeah. And it's the duration as well. It's also duration. I mean, of course, it can be the start of something. It's just before really switching into bear market mode, some more information would be sufficient. But that's your bearish scenario on a weekly, right? And bullish is, let's see, we haven't overlapped yet. I'm not sure if I haven't looked at this for a short while. 112. This would be incredibly bullish. So I'm not really, I won't be, I will be happy if it turns out like this, but it's currently not like it's too early. It's too bullish. I'm not a moon boy. I'm also not what's the opposite of a moon boy? Someone that's always depressive and talks about Bitcoin to zero, right? I don't care where Bitcoin is. I trade it at 100K, 10K, 500K, 50K. Doesn't matter. It does not matter, right? It's an asset. I trade it. I get money. I'm happy. So yeah, it depends on the next move. If you take out the high and volume increases and you extend, then yeah, we have the potential for much higher prices. It's just one of those that I have in my folders. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's the chance of getting a wave 2 here? I don't know. if price would move to 51.8 at some point, you can even do this, and then this is another one, and this is another two. Puff, puff, puff. So yeah, that's what's going on the weekly. I mean, potential for a finished 5 waiver, but if you really want to get into much bigger bear markets, then of course corrective, a WXY, a bigger WXY, like of course we were at 110, going down to 60k is a deep retracement, but it's not like we didn't see a retracement like on a weekly time frame, right? We were talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for so long. Yeah, taking the high again, yes or no? Well, I mean, eventually we didn't. We just moved down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And how many weeks have we been talking about this? Yeah, it's an option, but lower time frames are more interesting to me now instead of the weekly. The lower time frames will give us a lot more information. And at the moment, this move to the downside is corrective, with the alternative being a diagonal, which would be more bearish. So a W, an X, and a Y. Mind you, of course, wave Y can still go pretty deep. Well, yeah, it's the way it is, but still looking for higher prices after that. It would be a disaster for the market. Who wants that? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Just wreck all the over-leveraged people, all the people that don't know about risk management, all the people that FOMO, all the people that are greedy. That would be a very nice disaster. I would love that. Yeah. Grab the liquidity and then continue. I don't necessarily love people losing, but I think that generally the people that are not trained, not experienced, don't have a plan, don't have psychology control, those are the ones that get eaten in a market, right? But in the end, every winner has a loser on the other side. So if you win a trade, someone else loses. Are you sad when you win a trade? Oh. We're all in competition, basically. In a time perspective, wave 4 should be in, right? Yeah, I mean, the wave 4 on a daily, I still have it in my folders, but I'm not looking at the daily. It's as the bigger this becomes, the lower probabilities. So weekly time frame, daily time frame, not really focused on it, mainly on the 4 hour. So yes, Yannick, like the bigger this becomes, the lower the probabilities for force. And then, in other words, you look for a finish structure. Abdul, that would be Atas. And then tick size 50 with the templates that I shared in Discord. So, yeah, it's from, let's see, 81. Yeah, it's from last week. So that's the one that I found in Atas. So it's not a Tradingview indicator level, if you know what I mean. So yeah. But again, the templates are in Discord as well. 88k level is a point of control. Yes, with the PVP indicator. What's up, Relax Bro? Compendium, probably halfway this year. There's a lot. So there's been, I got to start with my road trip talk, but just to cover this, while on holiday, there's also, it gives me a bit of room to think about other stuff than being very busy, of course, like with answering questions, the videos, the content. So I have a very, very, in my opinion, I have a very good idea on how I can provide better Elliott wave education and improve the education material. So that is related to education following a 3-step process, which Should launch later this year. We haven't yet worked on it, but at least the thought is there. And I know my approach, but eventually first a platform needs to be made, and then the content needs to be made into 3 distinct like levels basically, and including exams and like it's going to be very professional. That's the goal. So that's something I thought of. The memberships, been talking about that already for a while, but those will change. But primarily now I need to set up the business in France. It's still not set up. Can you believe it? Get the lawyer stuff sorted as well, to get new lawyer here, and then get terms and conditions and all of that jizz. And I also need a social security number in France. So that's stuff I focus on first. First the fundamentals, the foundation, and then the products and whatnot. Bear market discount period. Yeah, discount coming. 30K. What's up, Mugandusi? Kiwi, good night, man. Living in New Zealand. Can we have somehow extended wave 5? Yes, as long as you don't take the 49K low. But an extended wave 5 is not very, very common per se. Now, on weekly time frames, having the highest amount of volume in the final impulse, which is extended 5 most common then, can happen due to the time frame. So because a weekly time frame impulse takes so long to form, a lot of people join the market as price is forming the impulse, which leads to the highest volume in the final move and very likely a blow off top, which then is your extended 5. So the answer to that is yes. And then you don't want to take 49K. Road trip talk. Yeah, let's start it. Do you see we're on it? Well, the daily ABC down is basically my WXY on the 4-hour time frame. So yeah, corrective. Looking for a corrective move down, or the diagonal if impulsive. Yeah. So okay, let's quickly cover the road trip talk. So, which also includes my meeting with Robert Prechter and the notes that I made with the meeting with him. So let me just play this video first. And I don't think the sound, you can't hear it. So that's, yeah, okay, that's fine. So I can just talk over it. But I'll just show the video first. Now, this is the short that we uploaded. Let me do over here. This is a short we uploaded just before the live stream, so you can see it with the music. But let me just play it. This is a short that my wife made. So while we were road tripping, she got the idea to make a short for you guys. And for her own business, she also makes shorts and reels and stuff. She doesn't necessarily have a lot of experience, but she is starting her business and starting to learn more about this stuff. And she wanted to make a video of the road trip. So she is the one that made this. Of course, everything flashes. There's music under the video, but I turned the music off. I'll talk about this meeting also with maybe a Band-Aid and the meeting with Adam, this guy over here, as well as Jared Tendler, which comes after Washington, and explain more about what we did. So it just gives you a summary of what we covered. That's Jared, author of The Mental Game of Trading, my favorite trading psychology book by a mile. Of course, we visited Wall Street Financial District. Actually, Wall Street itself is pretty boring, not going to lie. Only the New York Stock Exchange is there, which is interesting. I loved seeing it. But other than that, it's just a street with high buildings and nothing to see. Let's cover. So, okay, we dropped in Miami. That's where we landed. And after Miami, we went to the Everglades and then continued to maybe a Band-Aid. I don't know how much detail you guys actually want, really. But in Miami, we just went to the port. We only were here for 1.5 days, really, because of time. We just had to continue. In the Everglades, we did an alligator tour. That's how I call it. I don't think it's the official name, but that was really cool. We are almost like on a hoverboat. with a big wind rotor or whatever in the back, blowing us over the water, looking for alligators. I mean, we don't really, I've never seen one in the wild, as far as I can remember, only maybe in a zoo, but that's cheating. So yeah. Then for our wedding anniversary, we ate at Sexy Fish. I can recommend it. Great restaurant. And we are married for 1 year now. Yep. So that's where we ate. That's my wife. That's Ashley. She is the one that edited the video. So if I do this, by the way, does that work? Keeping the chat on? Yeah, it does. Okay, cool. So she is the one that edited the video. So this is the wife. This is Koen's wife. And this is Sexy Fish in the background. So she made the video. Ta-ta-ta. Right? Pop, 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 pop. There is maybe a Band-Aid. So maybe a Band-Aid is actually in the chat. This guy over here with the blue name and the wrench behind. All right, so that is the guy that I met. Yeah, I see you actually saw some manatees while you were in. Yeah, they are legit, probably the most chill creature. I know. So the manatees are actually, there's fear of extinction. So this is an area where they do really take care of the animals. Those are wild animals. They're not in captivity. They just come here because in winter season, it's warmer waters and it's very safe. They look like stones when you see them for the first time, which is actually very interesting. Manatees. So it's like what maybe a Band-Aid wrote. Where is it? So this is how you write it, which is very interesting. So very interesting. And they're very calm, very relaxed swimmers, I suppose. Then met Jason. So maybe a Band-Aid. It was evening. We went for dinner at a place nearby and spent the evening there. Lots of talking, lots of chatting. He's in the chat here as well. And yeah, it was great. It was so good to meet maybe a Band-Aid. Of course, we speak to each other online, in the chat, Discord, la-di-la-di-la. But it's great to meet people face-to-face. I love meeting people face-to-face. And we had a really, really good time. So this was the place. I forgot the name. What was the place of this? It was very American. Roadside. What was the name of this place? I forgot. Maybe a Band-Aid will know. Then Robert Prechter. So here we go. Now with Robert Prechter, so this gentleman, he I repeated, I said it multiple times, but I'll say it again. He's the founder of Elliott Wave International and the author of Elliott Wave Principle, the book. Of course, I brought my book with me, which is the Elliott Wave Principle book, and asked for like a signature. So he did, and. He wrote something. I don't have the book in my office at the moment. He wrote something like, may the waves be with you or something. Hopefully you always catch the right wave or something. The book is in the living room. So, yeah, so basically the reason I went to America initially was because Robert Prechter agreed on meeting me in person. Which is awesome. I sent him an email, whole explanation of who I am, what I do, shared all the links, la-di-la-di-la, like whole thing. And eventually he agreed. Now, Robert is such a kind, funny, inspiring guy. Like, he's now 70, I didn't ask his age, but you'll probably find him online, like 70 something. And it was so laid back, so chill, so relaxed. It was like having dinner with my grandpa and grandma, really. Like, it was so cool. And I initially asked him, the meeting, la-di-la, and then we actually had the meeting at or initially planned it to have it at the office of Elliott Wave International. They still have a room somewhere. Most people work from home, but they still have a room in a building. But then he invited my wife and myself for dinner. So we went for dinner at a Mexican place nearby, and we just sat down and he asked the waitress to take a picture of us. So that was actually really cool, like I'm like the fan guy, and then he's the one that asked the waitress for a picture, which he then sends to me on iMessage. So we had dinner in a Mexican restaurant. We sat there. We were the final people to leave the restaurant, guys. We sat there till the very end. They were already cleaning. They were already putting chairs on the tables and la-di-la. And we were still seated and chatting. Now, we spoke about many things, but there were 3 categories that I thought of before going. And that was business, Elliott waves, and live lessons, right? So I have notes of his answers. Now, because we were in a restaurant, I couldn't record it. So I of course, I bought a lavalier, like a thingy microphone for on the shirt. I couldn't record it because in a restaurant, privacy, lots of noise, la di la. So I decided to try and remember everything as well as I could, and then make notes immediately after dinner in my phone, so I can talk to you about some of his answers. Very relaxed guy, very fun personality, and very, very interesting journey. So let me get to it. Right, let me get to it. Can we see the chart? Yeah, we can still see the charts here in the middle. So I'll probably have to make a separate video of my meeting with Robert Prechter, but that's for another. That's for later. So first of all, First of all, he started the business with his wife. That's something I didn't know. This is his wife, right? And you can see on the jacket, Elliott Wave International. Nice. But they started the business together. And before I actually get into the answers, let me talk a little bit about how they started. So Robert Prechter and his wife started Elliott Wave International, right? How far back am I going to go? How detailed shall I talk about the story, really? So I'll probably, I might as well just use the details. So when Robert was studying, he got into the financial markets because his father sent him financial reports every month. And he was very interested, but he didn't understand anything. So that's when he started to try and learn as much as he could. And he didn't yet know about Elliott Waves, but because of his interest in the financial markets, eventually, la-di-la, network, whatever, then he got in touch with an Elliott Wave analyst, right? And that analyst, basically what the other Elliott Wave analyst did is provide an Elliott Wave analysis on the market reports that Robert was reading. So that's how he found it. He always got the reports from his dad. Then online, he figured there's an analyst that actually analyzes those reports from an Elliott Wave point of view. Now, Nelson Elliott, the founder of Elliott Wave, or the founder of Elliott Waves, he passed away 1 year before Robert Prechter was born. So unfortunately, he never had the opportunity to meet Nelson. However, due to his growing interest in Elliott Waves, he eventually deep dived into the libraries to find material from Nelson Elliott himself. And I think in New York, he managed to find the original manuscript and books of Nelson Elliott. And eventually, he is the one that used that material plus additional material to also make Elliott Wave Principle. Now, they wanted to start a newsletter on Elliott Waves. And there was a newsletter, which was I think it's still there, right? What was it? The Financial Times or something like that. Like there was an existing newsletter. They wanted to start their own newsletter, but then focused on Elliott Wave analysis because they just wanted to share their analysis with the rest of the world. Now they launched the company, the newsletter, but they started, of course, with absolute zero people, right? There's no one there was no client. And therefore they had to do marketing. And what they did is in the other newsletter, they basically, or was it a newspaper? I think it was in a newsletter because it was their target audience. Basically what they did is they bought an advertisement spot for, I believe, $250 or something back in the day for that piece, and they basically it was a small area on the page, and they could market their newsletter. And the first time they did it, they got only one reader, right? It shows determination as well. And then eventually they did it again, and they got 2 more, and then they did it again, and they got 10 more, and etc. And that's how the company basically grew. And they almost got in trouble because this has to do with regulators, but basically the regulators tried to take down the Elliott Wave International newsletter. I forgot for whatever reason. I'm not sure. It wasn't really competition or something, but by all means, there was a story about the fact that they tried to take the newsletter down. But Robert and his wife were very smart, and they made sure that didn't happen. So they eventually got the newsletter up and running, and they did not have a vision. And that was stuff that we spoke about in the beginning, and that's now we get to my notes as well, is I also question about when they started, did they have a vision of, hey, we want to do this with our business. This is the markets we want to enter. This is how big we want to get. This is the employees, analysts, la-di-la. Did they ever thought they would get where they are now? None. They had no vision whatsoever. They just started with a newsletter, no expectations or vision of a bigger global company. It evolved naturally. As they started, the team slowly started growing based on their needs. That is literally how they started the business. They just started with the newsletter. They got it done, got some clients. And eventually, as Robert told me, he was like, oh, I need an assistant. Okay, get an assistant. Oh, we need a this. Oh, we just get it done, right? So a lot of the profit went back in the business by getting more people in the team. And his wife basically did the office stuff while Robert was more the analyst, right? So they worked together. Very, very nice. So that's how they eventually grew the business. And now Elliott Wave International is a very big global business, of course. I think they have 99, no, at a moment in time, they had 99 analysts. I don't know how many they have now, or 99 employees. I don't know how many they have now, but it's still more than enough. And the son of Robert Prechter is called Elliott. He's called Elliott, and he works in the business. And Elliott, the son of Robert Prechter, he works on the AI side of Elliott Wave. So the E-Waves AI analysis tool, which it basically counts Elliott Waves for you on a chart, is developed by Elliott, which is the son of Robert Prechter. Okay. So yeah, the company basically grew, and they very randomly, oh, maybe we have to do this. Maybe we should talk to institutions and offer them something. Maybe we need to grow the team here and there. So very, very natural way of growing the team. Not too much planning, not too much organizing, and just take what it comes and then take it from there, basically, right? They never expected it would grow to what it is today. Then I also asked him about the biggest challenges. I don't know. So yeah, I have all of my questions in the app, but I basically summarized the answers. So biggest challenges. The first biggest challenge was that the regulators tried to bring the company down, the newsletter. I spoke about it just now, but they really struggled to get rid of the regulators. I think they besides Elliott Wave International, they had to set up a marketing agency just to market their newsletter that was it. Oh, now I remember. So in order to dodge the regulators, so they did everything online, but they wanted to have their paper at a shop, because if you couldn't get it at a shop for whatever reason, the regulators would not deem it real or whatever, and then take it down. I don't know the exact details, but that was the red line of it. And basically what they needed to do is get their newsletter in a magazine in a shop. So not as an ad, but just the thing. So eventually they set up like this marketing agency where the wife of Robert Prechter, it's a funny story actually. I can't tell it as well as they could, but the wife of Robert Prechter, she was the one taking the phone, and she did the marketing agency while working for Elliott Waves International. And she, when picking up the phone, had to use a different voice, so just changed her voice, just to make sure that she didn't get recognized with or linked to Elliott Wave International. So it was a completely different business, just to publish their newsletter in a magazine in a shop so that it's offline, because Robert Prechter found a loophole, which then made them stay and keep the newsletter. Or, like it's a crazy story. But the regulators, they eventually, that was a big challenge, but they got it done. The second big challenge was building a team, and mainly when building a team, focus on what they want to do and vet them completely, plus call referrals. So he learned his lesson with a couple of employees where he struggled he struggled with certain employees, and that's where the lesson comes from. But when you build a team, you focus on what they want to do. Of course, you have a need as a company, and of course, you try to find the person that fills the need and hopefully enjoys what they do, right? So really make sure you get people that really focus on what they like to do, and vet them completely. Call all the referrals, make them write everything down in his CV, check it all, no hurry, right? Quality above quantity. And then hiring analysts is difficult because they aren't you, which I guess is something that I will agree with in the future. But no one has the exact same style of analysis, the exact same conclusions per se, or the same fibs, the same background, the same. You can't have two Koens, right? And you have to, if there's another analyst, you can train them to a certain extent, and then you have to let them go and let them do their thing and trust that what they do is good, which of course is something that I know, and I don't have analysts myself, right? I don't have any analysts as employees and whatnot. But in the future, maybe one day I will, right? And then, of course, this is very relevant. Okay, monetization. They started the newsletter. They advertised this in another newsletter for $250. And the first time they did that, they only got 1 subscriber. Then they did it again and got 3, then again, etc. And that's when it started growing. Transition. They naturally transitioned from a small to bigger company based on needs. They just thought about new things they could do all the times besides the newsletter, like do stuff for institutions and do education, etc. And then they just did it. I noticed that with my storytelling, I'm kind of ahead of my summary. The key business strategies: getting people in the right position, what they want to do, remove toxic people as quick as possible, and take it as it comes. Don't overplan everything. Marketing, buying an ad in another newsletter for $250 is how things slowly started. AI, the son. Oh yeah, so what they're doing now is a lot of AI stuff, which is the son Elliott of Robert Prechter is called Elliott, his son, focuses on e-waves. If he has to give one tip to his younger self, this one was interesting. If he has to give one tip to his younger self, it is to not trade and to focus fully on the business. That was an interesting one. So you can see that Robert Prechter is really an analyst. He's an analyst, and you can see when you talk with him and talk about charts and analysis and Elliott waves, and like he's an analyst guy. So he said if he has to give one tip, do not trade, focus on building a business, provide value to others. And he also said that he did have a period where, of course, he trades a bit. He does do like long-term investing and money management, but not like trading. He said it's very stressful, takes a lot of time, and he can better put that, first of all, remove the stress, and second, he can better put that time into building the business, which eventually provides more value to other people instead of himself as a trader. So he said, give one tip to your younger self, don't trade, focus fully on business. But he does do Elliott waves in his own investing, but not trading. It's a difference. Oh yeah, and then number 10. I still have more to talk about, but what is this? Integrate socio-economic social mode into Elliott waves. Oh yeah, so Robert Prechter has a psychology background, and he basically connected psychology to Elliott waves, which is also known as the socioeconomic theory of finance, which is a theory that Robert Prechter developed himself. In some way, I think he might be ahead of his time a little bit, but because it's fascinating. And in other words, you can find Elliott waves anywhere, not just in the chart in price, but anywhere. And the socioeconomic theory of finance basically explains, I mean, in a big nutshell, because that book is super, super big, which I have the book here as well. Didn't take it because of the weight, but it's a big, big book. And it basically talks about the fact that everything goes in waves, and you can use social mood and emotion as a guideline for where you are in which wave you are, right? So yeah, does include uses. Oh yeah, and there are apparently indicators on TradingView for this or somewhere, but I don't know where. Anyway, that's as far as my summary reached. Let me check my questions because there's probably more that I can. We also spoke a lot about myself and my wife, because actually Robert Prechter and his wife were very curious about what we do and la di la. Let's see. I have my questions here. Let me see. So I started with vision and beginnings, but we spoke about that here during the live stream. The biggest challenges, we spoke about this. First, monetizing it. That was the newsletter with the advertisements. We spoke about that. Second part was scaling and strategy. They transitioned from a small operation to a globally recognized research firm by just taking it step by step, looking into what they need, right? They didn't have a big vision. They just took it as it came. Key business strategies contributed most to Elliott Wave International's growth, which is putting people in the right place. How did you approach marketing and audience building in the early days compared to now? Early days was getting that advertisement spot in the newsletter. Nowadays, they, of course, have social media. Let's see, business challenges and decisions. So I also question, like, have you ever pivoted the business model? They never actually pivoted. He still does the newsletter. To this day, he still does the newsletter. They never pivoted into another business model. They just added different things based on needs that they found in the market. So first you have the newsletter, then they started, of course, getting employees and then providing analysis to institutions and blah, blah, blah. And that's how eventually things grow. Then you have the educational side, of course, helping people to learn more about Elliott waves. Oh yeah, I also asked a question about how they managed competition, especially from other technical analysis firms, but they just did what they believed in. They didn't really care about competition or others or people, other Elliott Wave analysts. They had their own approach with the newsletter, which didn't exist yet. So there wasn't really any competition on that front. We spoke about AI. We spoke about how did you build and lead your team. So how do you build and lead your team? He said that, again, he puts people in the right place. He really listens to them on what they want to do, and he tries to help them to do exactly that inside the boundaries of the role they have in the company. How do you ensure quality control? Yeah, if you... I also asked, if you were to start over today, what would you do differently? But interestingly, he wouldn't really change anything because it all came very natural. They were on a journey together. They built the company based on the needs that they saw in the market, and they were together. It's like a family business, really. So yeah. Okay. Then we have. Let's see. Then we get to Elliott Waves. I actually spoke to him about the 886, which he found very interesting. He asked if I have some data as well, which I have. When my compendium is finished, I'll send him the compendium as well. He wanted to have a look at it, and that's really cool as well. So maybe we can have some signed copies. I did ask him. Are there AI? We spoke about AI. How has your personal approach to Elliott Wave evolved over the years? Of course, he added the psychology element he mentioned. Other than that, his approach didn't necessarily change. What he did say is that the more famous you get, because he's a very, Robert Prechter he's a very famous analyst. Like he won multiple awards and like whatnot. So the more famous you get, if your primary scenario does not play out, the backlash is bigger. And he never had necessarily problems with that because that's just the way it is, and they don't provide financial advice in the sense that they don't tell you what to do with your money per se, right? It's analysis. It's Elliott Wave analysis. But there were moments where, of course, he is wrong. Everyone is wrong at some time, at some moment. And it can be very difficult to cope with such moments. When you're right, people happy, right? But when you're wrong, the negative emotion of wrong is a bigger emotion than being right. There's a quote about this, actually. Let's see if I can find a quote about... there's a quote about the fact that the negative emotion is a lot bigger. I'm not gonna find it now. But it's about if something negative happens, it tends to hit harder than when positive things happen. So, yeah, you're good. And the moment one analysis sucks, everyone focus on, oh, you suck, right? Because now you're wrong. But they kind of like forget the positive. But yeah, he spoke about that as well. And yeah, sometimes you got to sit on the blaren, as we say in the Netherlands, which is like hide in a corner and you just got to take it, focus on the next analysis and just do your thing. Because everyone will be wrong at some moment in time, right? So yeah. But his approach never really changed. He's always done the higher time frames. He's always done the newsletter. Yeah. Rules and guidelines. So I just mentioned the 886 already. We spoke about that. Oh yeah. So I also said that. So he is the one that actually added the leading diagonal to Elliott Waves, if I remember correctly. Because we spoke about Elliott Waves, of course, as well. It was great fun to talk about Elliott Waves, and he told me that I asked completely different questions compared to what he has had in all of his interviews, because I asked questions about life lessons and the business and also Elliott Waves, but from a different point of view, I suppose. So we had great conversations about it. But one of the things I also said is, hey, would you consider modifying or evolving Elliott Wave rules based on modern market behavior? And that's when he added the leading diagonal, as that is something they found in the market. He has heard about like a new wave 5 thing and stuff, but he does not see that as relevant developments inside the Elliott wave area. So there's also I think he didn't even know about the upwards I don't even know the name, upwards triangle or downwards triangle. So it's not a barrier triangle, contracting, expanding triangle. It's some it's actually a diagonal, but people call it a triangle. I have no idea how people get to that, but that's yeah. No, it's not an ascending. An ascending or descending triangle is a barrier triangle. It was something different. I saw it once, but he does not look at all that stuff. It's classic Elliott waves. That's his thing. You know, wave 5, either a diagonal or it's 5 waves. It's not a 3-wave structure. Someone commented on one of my videos about wave 5 can be a 3-wave structure, question mark. And I think I heard something about it. But in my opinion, if you count a wave 5 as a 3-wave structure, I mean, you just don't have the skills to count the chart. It's very, I mean, might be very, might be very harsh, but yeah, wave 5 is either a diagonal or it is an impulse. So probably wave 4 is counted wrong if you count wave 5 as a 3-wave structure. Let's see. How do you personally use Elliott wave in your own trading or investing? So that's mainly investing. He doesn't trade. As mentioned earlier, we spoke about if Elliott wave is wrong, his analysis is wrong, how does he handle it? So he handles it by just continuing, just doing his work and just keep going. I mean, you're wrong, happens, and you just continue. You know, I mean, yeah. And he does integrate sentiment analysis and socioeconomics in his investing as well, which has to do with the socioeconomic theory of finance and looking at just the world in general and what's happening, which is not necessarily fundamental news related to, let's say, Bitcoin. I think the best thing to do is just buy the book and read the book. You'll know what socioeconomic theory of finance is. It's a very big book. Okay. Yeah, younger self, one piece of advice. What would it be? Not trade, but build a business, as explained earlier, which was interesting. Do you see? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you think Elliott waves will remain relevant in the next 20 to 30 years? The answer there was yes. As things just move with waves connected to a certain psychology, and as long as there's enough people, there's enough psychology. The influence of AI, like Elliott Wave International, is also working on their AI software, so that will increase. But and he also said like he will not see where things go in 20, 30 years, probably. But very likely technology, AI will play a bigger role. But Elliott waves will continue to remain relevant from his point of view, which I share, to be honest, because in the end, in my opinion as well, things are just related in waves. It doesn't really matter what you look at. Everything goes up and down. Even the cycle of Earth. If you go to the London museum, like the Science Museum and stuff, you also see that, you know, you have an ice age and then you have the summer age or whatever, and ice age and summer age, and everything goes in circles, you know. So what's next for you? I also asked him this, but nowadays he takes a step back. He's not really speaking anymore. He used to speak at many conferences. He doesn't tend to speak a lot anymore. He doesn't really meet up like we did anymore. Just very occasionally. He just focuses more on the newsletter. He manages the business top down, but like it's more a step back. You know, his family is involved in the business, so yeah. And also, like we had a great connection. We have each other on WhatsApp and iMessage, and we're in touch. And he is definitely open in doing a similar, like for example, doing a live stream, and that the chat can ask questions, and that we need to filter questions, of course, because one can imagine there's going to be many people watching with many questions. But that is something that could be fun, because of course now I couldn't record anything, and it's not like I wanted necessarily to record, but if the opportunity is there, I wanted to ask him. And we were in a restaurant, so I didn't. Yeah. So, but yeah, we have a great connection. It's like, yeah, it's like I don't know, very personal, very easy, very warm person, and his wife as well. We had a click from the very beginning, and I'm very happy that I had the opportunity to meet Robert Prechter and shake his hand. And yeah, because, you know, like one of the most influential people in our niche. And it is great to meet him in person before one day, you know, like he's at age, but he looks fit, he looks good. But still, you know, like it's an honor to have met him. He also said that he would have loved to meet Nelson Elliott, but he died before he had the opportunity to. And that wasn't going to happen to me. So, yeah, it was great meeting Robert Prechter. So, yeah, after that, we met Adam. That was quite funny because actually, when we arrived at the place where we're going to meet Adam, I didn't know how Adam looked. So he knows how I look. Everyone, you see the webcam, but I don't know how you look. So my wife and I walked to the door to open the door of the place. But just before we arrive at the door, someone else, like 2 meters ahead of us, opens the door and says, "Oh, come in." That was Adam, but we didn't know, because it's not like if someone opens the door and says, "Oh, go ahead." Like, it's not like you scan them from top to toe. And I didn't see that. Can I click here? No, I can't zoom in. But he has a shirt on with his name Adam. But I didn't see that. So I just said thank you, and we walked in. And then after we walked in for a couple of meters, he taps me on the shoulder. And then it's like, "Oh, it was you that opened the door." But yeah, you know, I didn't know. So that was quite funny. But we had a great meeting with Adam. It was great talking to Adam. He showed pictures of his family, his daughters, and everything as well. We spoke about trading, work, investing, education, all sorts of stuff. Like great person. Great to have met him as well. Washington. This is the historic museum, and this was the money department. Ashley told me, Kun, just walk in front of the safe. It's fun for the short. So here you see me walking in front of the safe. Now I actually didn't really notice this video, even though the glass looks very transparent here. It wasn't necessarily easy to look through, and I was on the other side with the money here. I was very interested in the history of money. So check that one out. This is here as well, precious metals and whatnot. Jared Tendler, The Mental Game of Trading. Thank you, AJ. The Mental Game of Trading. I wrote him a message and I said, "Yo, I'm passing by. You're like, first of all, I asked him, where do you live?" So I am familiar with Jared, right? So I do know him. We have spoken before, but only online. So then I told him, like, "Yeah, I'm coming to the US. This is our route. Do you live somewhere on the route? It would be fun to meet if you have the opportunity." And it actually so happened that the Starbucks where we met was exactly on our route. So he proposed a Starbucks, which happens to be exactly en route. So we had the opportunity to meet as well. We sat with Jared for like 2.5 hours. Like we just kept going. And then eventually my wife and we had to go. We still had a trip to New York. So we were with Jared, such a kind guy as well. Very, very awesome author, business guy, and a great person. Very warm, very easy to talk to. shared also stuff about his family, and he gave us lots of tips and stuff for New York. We spoke about his business, which is, of course, related to trading psychology, but not only trading, also poker and some of the stuff that he is working on. We spoke about some of the stuff that I am working on, even though we speak each other more often. It was great to meet him in person and talk about some different topics than we usually do. My wife was there as well. She's the one that took the picture. We just had a great meeting. We didn't talk about my trading psychology or his trading psychology or the work. You know what I mean? It's not like you meet up and you talk about work. It was very relaxed, low, like hang back, chill, talk about this and that and this and that. And the conversation went everywhere. It very naturally flowed and very, very easy to talk to person. A lot of knowledge about trading psychology, but psychology in general. He has an esports background. I have an esports background, which is fun as well. He used to be the psychologist of Team Liquid. We both know the founder of Team Liquid. So, short line. So yeah, very, very, very cool to have met with Jared Tendler, which again is the author of The Mental Game of Trading, which is the only psychology book that I really recommend. For me, it's the best one. Then, of course, New York. This is the bull in the financial district. Here you have the New York Stock Exchange. You see it from the other side as well, but you can see the gate. You can't get closer. NASDAQ, right? Pretty cool. The NASDAQ. This is 1 Wall Street over here. This building is, the address is 1 Wall Street. And then we have, there you go. So this is the New York Stock Exchange from the front, basically. And you can see also here the gate, there's security all around. But, yep. I know that was the first time. I've never been here. So, yeah, that was cool. It was great to see. You can't just walk inside, but maybe one day we can get invited and have a look inside. That would be really, really, really cool. We finally in New York. We did many things in New York. It's a crazy city, and there's a lot to do. We were there 5 days. There you could fill more than 5 days. But it feels like a very stressful city. Like, not that Ash and I are like stressed when we are there, because we are relaxed, we're chilling, we're sightseeing, we're just walking. But it's just the atmosphere in a way. I know maybe you visited New York and have a different point of view, but it felt stressful. Like people hoot all the fucking time. Like, holy, there's no patience on the road. No patience. Zero. It's crazy. It's nuts. So one of the great examples is you see cars waiting for the traffic light. It's green. Someone has to go straight, but the car in front has to go left. Now, if it goes green, that also means the people walking have green at the same time, right? So sometimes the car that goes left has to wait a little bit, but usually you can still drive around. But the moment a car turns left, it's just boop. It's just hoot. It's all the time. Like the smallest things get a hoot. Sometimes it's a small peep, and sometimes it's and yeah, it's crazy. People look outside their window when they drive by, they hoot, and they're like, yeah. I don't know. It's very stressful. A lot of people walking on the sidewalks and crossing, and we are just chill, relaxing, sightseeing. But it does feel like a stressful city if you would work and live there, not gonna lie. But for us, it was great. Times Square, we did a Rockefeller art tour in the Rockefeller area, which was really cool. Everything was planned by my wife, by the way. Like I just drove and arrived, and she did the whole planning. And of course we discussed like a little bit, but she did a lot of the planning. And we did the Broadway Museum tour. We went to the Chicago Broadway Theater show. We went to the holy moly, how can I forget the Freedom, the Liberty statue. So Statue of Liberty, Liberty statue. I mean, it's the same thing, I suppose. So we went there as well. Shopping, see art, a lot of art in the city. Financial district, fashion district, Central Park. Yeah. And more, like only we did a lot here. So yeah, it was really cool. So that was the trip basically, and also then the meeting with Robert Prechter. Probably have to make a separate video, I guess, on stuff that I discussed, and maybe there's some lessons for you in what I said and some of the notes I made of the meeting. But yeah, that was that really. Let me have a little look here in chat if anything related to the story was asked. So where were we? We were somewhere here. The manatees. Ashley is the sexy fish. She is. She is. Wait. Ooh. I can't say an image. Oh, you also don't remember? Yeah, I don't remember as well. Yeah, it was a 2-week road trip. Maybe a band-aid. In my opinion, Koens is far too humble about himself. Koen is probably the most genuine individual I've met in a very long time. Same for his wife. It was a great time. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Maybe a band-aid. Equally true for everyone I met during the trip, including maybe a band-aid. It was such a great time to meet people in real life, and like, not many people know my wife. She doesn't really appear on webcam too often or during live streams. Occasionally she does, but generally she doesn't. But very, very easy to talk to, very chatty, very curious, very interested. And yeah, we just had a great conversation. At the beginning, we were almost feeling like we were just interrogating maybe a band-aid, because we had so many questions and we had so much fun in learning about maybe a band-aid and what he's up to and la-di-la. Eventually we had to calm ourselves down. So, but no, it was great. It was so great meeting you as well, man. Yeah. We will be back in America at some point, 100%. But it's also nice to meet people in real life. It's just getting the faces, speaking to people face to face instead of by text or online or Discord or this or that. And generally, I mean, most of you don't know who I am in real life, but my behavior on webcam is the same as offline. It's just me. And I used to be a television host. And, like back in the day, one of the things I told myself is when I go on television, I want to be exactly the same person as who I am not on television. And if the producer wouldn't accept that, then it's his problem. But they did. Now I'm the same guy. So yeah, it was great. It was great. What a trip. Don't feel like you need to grant vision right away. Just put in the work, study the ways, become successful, let the vision come to you. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I didn't know I was passionate about Elliott waves until I got in touch with the markets, and then Elliott waves afterwards. And that's when I started, back in the day. I hear a lot that you have to set a super big goal for yourself, your company, and have to pursue. So in my opinion, so what I do myself, according to MJ DeMarco, that's what I prefer, is I do have a vision, 10-year, 5-year, 1-year plan. But the reason I have it is so that my choices can align with where I want to go. So I have an idea of I want to go there, like business-wise, personal-wise, family-wise, holiday-wise, whatever, right? And because I know where I want to go, I can make choices according to that plan, which also means that if I get an opportunity, I sometimes have to say no because it doesn't align with where I want to go. However, if you do not know where you really want to go, what your goal is in 10 years, 5 years, and 1 year, and you get some random opportunity, you might actually say yes because you don't know better, right? And you then take the opportunity, and then 5 years down the line, you're like, oh shit, I'm actually not really happy here, or I don't really feel like I'm at a place where I should have been, etc. Right? So that is what I personally do. So I do have a vision. I do have a goal of having this and that and this and that in different areas of my life, because it's basically a decision framework. And this is stuff that also comes from, then, as mentioned earlier, MJ DeMarco, which is my favorite business author. And he talks about the 1-5-10 planacy, as he likes to call it, which is basically having a vision or an idea of where you want to go in 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years from now. You start with the 10 year, then 5, then 1. And then the 1 year can be put into smaller tasks during the year. If Koen's brand ever goes global, I'm head of Discord. Maybe one day we will be. Huh? Yo, Ice Cubes lady, welcome. Good to have you here. Did you already have your trip to Europe or not yet? Yeah, signed copies. That would be very nice. People will far more easily remember your failures than remember your successes. Agreed. What do you mean when you say if it doesn't touch the box, you don't trade? Because well, it's not necessarily I don't trade, but with the current market action, I just want price to hit the support. So I identified my support as well as resistance, of course. So I've identified it, but I preferably only enter anything after price actually touches the box and then observe the reaction, and then I might get interested, right? But I just want levels to be hit. I like it to be very accurate. At the moment, we literally just missed out, but it would be nice if we actually go down a little bit more locally and touch the levels. If we don't, that's fine. But yeah, I like my level. Oops, there goes to chat. I like my levels to be hit. Is it this one? Yeah. Question to Koens. I'll make sure to check it out, Usport. So I'll check it in Discord, probably later today. I think after the stream, my wife and I go to the gym and then continue Discord questions, other stuff after the gym. Maybe a Band-Aid. Yeah, right. In which hotel in New York did you stay? It was all planned by my wife. I just walk in and out. Wait, I think I can find it in my history. Where did we stay? It was a local hotel, as far as I know. It's not a global multi, like it's not a Hilton or something like that. We had, let's see. I found it. There we go. So we were in pod 39. Let me show you. Okay. Whoop. So in New York, we were in pod 39. Oh, they actually don't have a view over. Like you can go to the, what was it? the 17th floor or something, and they have like a view of New York, which is really cool. But I don't know, like it's very central. You're walking distance from the central station. It's literally like a 5 to 10 minute walk. So no, it was awesome. It's a great place, very nice place. So we of course we traveled. We dumped the car, the rented car, when we arrived in New York. We were going to do everything with public transport, and this place still had room because we booked pretty late, and it was very close to the central station as well. Walking distance from Times Square as well. Yeah, it's very good. So Pod 39, that's where we were. Yo, Albert. Cheers, man. Welcome. And appreciate the comment, sir. Thanks for popping in and dropping a comment like that. Legendario, thanks for the gift. Rahul first, welcome. Make sure to fill in the form here. But thank you, Legendario. Appreciate it, man. Hopefully you're doing good. It's not stressful. What actually is stressful is what you will see on Indian roads. You will probably get a heart attack. I've been to Indonesia, and at a certain moment I was backpacking in Indonesia, and we had to get in a bus to get to the blue volcano, was it? On Java. And they drive not like nuts. They drive, it's crazy. So but it's not, I don't know, I didn't really find it stressful. It was almost like a race car, somehow just trusting the rules of the road in such a country. Yeah, it felt different than New York, but hey, I've never been in India, not yet at least. So Chicago, I've been there once. The Chicago Bean. I wish I could have met you guys. I'll come to the US next time you travel. Yeah, Ice Cubes lady, you're of course not far from where, I mean, far, you're still, of course, it's not close, but at least you're on that side of the world, right? I mean, if you come to Europe and you happen to be in around the south of France, just shoot us a message. Did Prechter also have a hard time introducing people to Elliott Waves because it's really a niche thing and you also want to let people outside the niche know about Elliott Waves? Well, not necessarily asked this specific question, but based on his stories, it is not easy. It remains a niche. So, of course, starting the newsletter, he needed a couple of ads, $2.50 a piece, to get it running. And the first time he did an ad of $2.50, he only got one subscriber to the newsletter. And then again, and then they only had 3. And then again, and then, so it grew very slowly. And I can recall somewhere in our conversation that we spoke about just the general popularity of Elliott Waves, but it is still something that is seen as a very complex niche style of analyzing the markets. Even though many people follow it, they don't necessarily become an analyst themselves. It can very much help them, of course, in my opinion. And I very much motivate everyone to learn more about Elliott Waves, because holy moly, if you know about Elliott Waves and just how it works and you can implement it, it will really help. But yeah, there's still a lot of opportunity, in my opinion, to bring Elliott Waves to the masses. But I think you should not. Yeah, it has to be done in a different way. It has to be done in a. Of course, you have Elliott Waves as the product, but the marketing has to be different in a way. But yeah, I mean, it's very difficult material. It's tricky, but it's incredible. Elliott Waves is amazing. It's very accurate once you get to a certain level. Oh, I see. I'll fly to Europe in summer, fall. Uh, can catch. Use your Pokeball. Yeah, no, I mean, I visit Côte d'Azur every time I'm in Europe for longer than a month. Yeah, I mean, just when you're here, let me know. Let me know. So like we're of course on the Côte d'Azur, and summer period is a nice period as well to visit. So yeah, for sure, let us know. Is a diagonal allowed in WXY double combo? Yes, but a diagonal can only appear in a wave A, 1, C, or 5. So wave W, X, or Y can't by itself be a diagonal. Wave W can be a zigzag or a flat. In the zigzag, you can have a diagonal in an A or C, right? In a flat, your C could be a diagonal. Right? So that's how you, and then wave Y is either flat, zigzag, or triangle. Triangle consists of zigzags itself with AC potential. So you know where I'm going to. So yeah, the masters don't want to learn Elliott. It takes a lot of effort, but it changes the analysis for the better. Yeah, in my opinion, that's absolutely true. And I do think there's a lot of potential for Elliott waves. And I do have ideas, but yeah, let's take it step by step, just like what they did. You know, I have ideas of where I want to go, how I see things develop. But the first stuff I have to focus on is setting up the business still here in France. We're in the final stages. Get the lawyer stuff sorted here in France as well, terms and conditions and other things, and get a social security number. That's so in the upcoming days, if not can take weeks. That's my primary focus, because it's very stressful to not have these things set up. And if that is done, then it's done. You know what I mean? Then, okay, I got it. I got the social security number, got the business online, got the lawyer stuff. And then I can focus on actually putting all my time into creating the compendium, creating content, creating education, la la la. So, of course, the content on YouTube continues. It's just that on the background, there's so much more stuff that I want to work on, but I can't really focus on it 100% because I got the shit on the background going. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maxima, the master don't even know about the rules like wave 4 can't retrace into wave 1. Yeah, I mean, and then you're already talking about rules, you know, like step 1, like, so for example, in the beginning, my wife was interested in trading at a certain moment as well. And I taught her a few things, but also about like a little bit about Elliott waves. And it really made me realize how basic I have to make it. She's smart. She's a very, very smart person. But if you just don't know anything about the financial markets, even talking about a wave 4 and 1, people are like, what the fuck you talking about, mate? I don't know. Yeah, so you really start with a fully blank chart, no indicators, no nada, no nothing, right? And then you just talk about, okay, these candles, that's price. On my chart, of course, a gray candle is up and an orange one is down, but that's where you start. And this is price moving up. This is down. These are the time frames, right? So yeah, we have different time frames. I can switch, right? In a daily candle, you have 24 1-hour candles, etc. That's the absolute basic, right? But still, if you really, you know, that I think, yeah. That's where probably one you know, that's where we all start. No, how does it work? What am I even looking at? And then afterwards, that's when we can talk about waves. Because when I say, okay, do you see waves here? People be like, what the fuck is a wave? You know what I mean? But then, of course, you can draw on a chart as well, and people maybe start to realize what waves then are. But first they need to understand what they even look at, right? Or we have price here, we have time here, etc. It just made me realize how simplistic I need to be in certain future educational material as well. because my YouTube beginner Elliott wave list is definitely not beginner trading or beginner investing type of content. It requires you to already know how this works and waves. Basically, you need to know a little bit about waves, but yeah. So now I can't stop seeing Elliott waves every time I open a chart. Yeah. Once you start with Elliott waves, it's very tough to get out of it, because the moment you learn about, oh, this is an impulse, you'll never forget it. You open a chart, you'll be like, ooh, impulse, right? Like I open a chart and my eyes cannot not look for Elliott wave structures. I will always look for structures now. I open a random chart. The first thing I do is count. I cannot not see it anymore. So yeah, I fully align with what you say. So yeah, nice bit of a reaction here, by the way, at the low. Of course, very, very low time frame at the moment. But I just missed out on support. Did we hit anything else? Like, I mean, a little bit of an order block here, but yeah, it would be nice if it hits the box. We'll see. So, okay. Lots of chatting. We've been online for almost 2 hours, and it's time for me to continue the day, which means going to the gym with my wife. Let's see, it's now 4:30. Going to the gym, la 6:30. Then I'll keep an eye on Discord. Some of the YouTube comments that I still have to double check and answer. And from tomorrow, I get back into my routine. Yesterday, I arrived back here in France, but this morning was a bit slow, a bit different, very exhausted. And then tomorrow, I get back into my own routine. Yeah, lots of stuff. Oh, also, I got a book back from my brother, so I lent it to him. I really recommend this book. I read this book, I don't know, when did I read this? A few years ago, I think. And then I gave it to my brother. And he finished the book, and now I met him last weekend, and he gave it back to me, and I now started to read it again. So I read it. I started reading on the airplane, and if you don't know this book, I really recommend it. This book is about focus, and it's about basically, as they say it, not less is more, but less is better. And it's in the title, I suppose. Essentialism, the disciplined person, pursuit of less. Right? Yeah, maybe you can, of course, read it all online as well. Webcam, focus. Thank you. So really, really good book. And the reason I started to read it again is due to getting back on track of, what there's a lot has happened in the past couple of months, and then you get opportunities and stuff again. And I picked up the book, got it back from my brother, immediately started reading it again, because it really also helps with decision making, what to put energy in, what to say no to, what to delay, etc. Right? And it just really helps with organizing your life. So yeah, I recommend it. It's an awesome book. I think, I don't know, it's probably a bestseller book thing. So, no. And it smells like a book. I always love to have physical stuff. Okay. Time to get going. So, everyone, thanks for being here. It's been a very long live stream. We did the analysis at the beginning from around minute 18. I'll put the timestamp in the VOD. After that, I answered a few questions. Then we got into the road trip. Talk. I forgot to do the Wintersport. We can do Wintersport tomorrow. Because I have a couple of videos that can be fun. Then we had the road trip, spoke about the meeting with Robert Prechter and the notes that I made. And then, of course, maybe a Band-Aid, Adam, Jared Tendler, etc. So yeah, it's been quite a stream. All in all, I mean, we are back. It's been a good holiday. Gotta say, of course, when you're on winter sport holiday, especially for the ones that have been on winter sport, snowboarding, skiing, you know how exhausted you are at the end of the day and how early you get up to take one of the first elevators. So it's very difficult to provide any sort of content updates, whatever. But that's, of course, what I mentioned in previous content. Don't expect anything. But now we're back and the regular schedule starts. So let's see, tomorrow morning should be a normal update again. And then in the afternoon, planning a live stream. And we'll see how the year is going to develop and what may change with regards to content, channel, the book, compendium, educational stuff, other educational stuff. Like we'll see how things move forward. But thanks for being here. And we will see each other again tomorrow, everyone. So new day, new opportunities, new waves.